Hi, my name is Nicole Nageli, and today I have Dave Mervik with me.
Oh, hello.
Do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Dave Mervik, and I am the narrative director at Tarsier Studios. And I worked on a whole bunch of stuff, but most recently I've been involved with Little Nightmares too.
Awesome. And here's the icebreaker question. Tell us your favorite quote, but in your own words.
Oh, a quote just by anybody.
Anyone, anything you're thinking about right now, or maybe something that sticks with you. There's no rules.
Oh, that's not an icebreaker. That's thrown me completely. Uh, I honestly, I've got nothing. I'm thinking of nothing right now. I've been watching Swedish kids music, so that's what's running around in my head. These talking bees going some. So yeah, there's your quote.
That's a beautiful quote. It really
I'm
just touched
sorry,
my
I've got
soul.
nothing better for you.
That's totally fine. What role has fear played in your mindset towards writing?
You mean my own fear, really, or like how I would create that feeling in the work I do?
Your own fear towards writing.
Um, I guess the main thing is it's like the only thing I've ever really been good at. Well, that's me saying that, other people can judge whether I'm good at it or not, but it's the only thing I ever really loved. Uh, I think I was afraid probably of never really giving it a shot because I'm also a terribly lazy person, as I told you when we first spoke. What I've achieved in my nearly 44 years of life is like pathetic.
I don't believe that.
I have a mountain of unfinished scripts and stories and all sorts of stuff. And so I think I've always been afraid of this one thing that I've always loved doing and never really kind of going for it. So the best thing I ever did was join Tarsier, and they gave me a shot at being that for a living, which means I have to finish things, otherwise I'll get fired. So that's another fear.
Yeah, that's awesome. That fear of like, you love this thing so much that you never started it. Sometimes you just gotta like throw yourself into it.
Yeah, I mean, life's full of that, isn't it? People kind of talking about what they would have done or what they should have done. And
Hmm.
yeah, I also wanted to be a teacher, weirdly, and I was so close to doing that. I was like,
Oh, what
it
subject
was
would you
it
have
was
taught?
English for sure. It's always been English teachers that I loved. Always nailed it for me. But yeah, it's one of those things. It was like one phone call changed that. I went one way in instead of carrying on with my teacher's training, and I'm here now in Sweden instead of Liverpool, stuck in the UK forever.
That's really interesting. I was really surprised when researching the game. I've done a bunch of papers on it for my game design class that there
Wow.
was only one writer. What is it like to write for games? Like, since you're the only writer, was it a collaborative environment between you and the concept artists and the producers and everything? What was your writing process like?
I mean, on those games, I mean, it's collaborative across the board with every game we do because everyone's got opinions on stuff, and you're an idiot if you don't listen to other people just because they have a different job title, I would say. Um, but with Little Nightmares, because it's like dialogue free, my job wasn't really about writing the story like in such heavy detail. I was like the lore guy on those games. Like I was one of the ones who created the IP in the beginning. There was like a handful of us who kind of devised this whole world and the game. And then when it became a thing, I was involved very early on in setting the premise. In fact, of both games, like what's the general story we're going to tell. But
Mhm.
then it goes to like our art director and our cinematics artist, who, because they just are amazing at visualizing things, and this is a visual story apart from the audio, which is the other big part of telling the story here. And so it was them really that kind of got into the nuts and bolts of it. What can we show, And it's still there's a dialogue between the lore I created and the story they're telling in these two games. So I mean, it's absolutely a collaboration. There's also, a big part of when I create the lore comes from, say, like concept artists. When they create some of these characters, I take that stuff and you almost have to retrofit it. You're like, this is a character they really believe in, and there's like so many great elements for gameplay and for the feel of the world and stuff. And then I kind of take some of those elements and go, right, how can I tell a story about these characters and weave them into the world that already exists in the lore Bible, which is a really magnanimous title for just biographies. And but yeah, so yeah, Little Nightmares is kind of a strange one, really, because it's not a typical narrative director or designer job, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the
Because we made
things that I love about the game.
But yeah, like I say, I mean, we all kind of we all have to work together, and you probably hear that from anyone who works in the games industry. If you silo yourself and you go, I only work in design, I won't talk to artists, or whatever, you're going to have a terrible game, because it's totally incongruous. Like the audio department of written cheesy 80s synth pop for a game that's set in a big tin can underwater, and then design have made like the next Mario. Everything is totally off if you're not moving along in the same way.
That's exactly it. Like, you can totally tell that from the game and everything, especially the music and the visuals. Everything is so tied in together, and it's very clear that there's a lot of passion into it. It's awesome. When you encounter a problem, maybe in your writing or just in general, usually what's your first thought?
All right, here's something I couldn't quote in your icebreaker question, but do you know who I think of? I think of Dan Harmon. I don't know if you know of his work.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What would you say? Did you
Dan
say?
Harmon, he was one of the creators of Rick and Morty
Oh,
and
okay, I don't think I've
Community.
watched that yet.
What?
I haven't.
Can we end the interview now?
Oh, ow, that hurt my feelings.
No, if you're a Gravity Falls fan, I think you would really enjoy Rick and Morty. In fact, there's one really nice Easter egg in both of those series where they're shared universe.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So now I have to check it out. I will check it out.
But anyway, like I think it was on his podcast one of the times they were talking about the writing process. Is the best advice I ever got in how to deal with writer's block. Is it okay if I swear? Because they swore, and I'll try not to.
Yeah, basically like a minimum.
Yeah, Disney swearing.
Yeah, sure. Or like Fantastic Mr. Fox, where they say like, "Are you cussing at me?"
Yeah, no, I won't swear. But then anyway, no, because basically it was what do you do if everything you write is terrible? And he said, then just write that. Then just keep writing it. And this has been the thing that's always hampered me, is ever since computers, where you could read what you're doing and stop and go back and change it, you just procrastinate so much more. And it's to the point where I had to stop writing on the computer and write in notepads, which is so pretentious, really, isn't it? Oh, I'm a writer, I only write in notepads. But it's the only way I could do it, because it was too much work to scribble everything out and go back and do it again. So I had to keep writing. And that was like the best advice, is that just write it terrible, because you can fix it.
Yeah,
you can go back to it tomorrow or next week and look at it and see what's wrong with what you did. But if you don't write it in the first place, you can't fix anything, and you just won't do it. The next day it's even worse, because like, you've got this terrible thing in your system that you have to just let out.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with that. There's this artist, author that I really love, Austin Kleon. He talks about the importance of having like a digital workstation, like a computer, and the analog station, like with papers and pens. And I'm looking at my, let me see if I can reach. I have this is what I call like the writer's playground or something, but it's pretty much the same thing you're saying. That's very powerful. I love that. How does fear affect your work and how do you combat it when it pops up?
I've probably, I'm like a really insecure person across the board, but like certainly when it's writing, it's so personal. I never write from a place of like, this is just a job, I don't care, you know, like just squeezing out another piece of text or anything. I have to care about it if I'm going to do anything good. So I think when it comes time to present that to other people, I am terrified. I am, I still don't think I've hit on the way to present it, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes I unleash everything, just brain pour, and afterwards you see the people just kind of like, okay, let me just absorb that then. And then other times I'll try and go the other way, and I'll just be like, yeah, you know, there's these kids, and you know, it's fine. I'm trying to be all casual, and then you haven't sold it enough.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's trying to strike that balance between, yeah, hitting them with the passion and all the stuff that you really care about, but not scaring them, you know, by being, you know, super fan, if you know what I
What do
mean.
you
But
think? I'm curious. What is it that you're afraid of? Is it like, I don't know, maybe you have to prove yourself more? Maybe they'll judge your idea and be like, no, actually, we're going to fire you because that was the stupidest thing we've ever heard.
no, I don't think it goes that far. It's just that they wouldn't like it, you know, because these people I work with, like I really respect them in their different fields, whatever they're doing. Like these are some of the most talented people I've ever worked with in my career. And so it matters even more if they're like that. No, you've not really hit it, man. I'm sorry. This doesn't feel good to me. I'm like, oh, that feeling. If you don't
Mhm.
respect someone and they don't like your work, and you say, well, you don't know anything, do you? You know. But when you know they do know stuff and they've got good taste and they don't like what you've done, it means that it's not good. So it's always like, it's a terrible feeling when, and it's not been so far, it's not been this is terrible. It's just, yeah, I don't know, it's missing something or whatever. And still, it's a devastating feeling that at the
Do you
same
feel like
time,
it's better to err in the way of being super excited and just, the brain pouring it out, or make the mistake of not saying enough to keep it vague?
I would say so, yeah. Like I say, particularly with Swedes, it's a lot for them to take that kind of level of positive passion. You know, you can just see them going, oh, please. But yeah, I think for sure. And do you know what? In the end, you got to be yourself. And myself is still about 10 years old, I think, inside. And so, and I've noticed recently, because I've been doing more and more of these interviews, you know, for Little Nightmares, and I only really noticed recently that I have crazy eyebrows and like eye ticks when I'm on video. You'll probably notice it when you're watching this back and edit my entire face out. But like, and I think it's all, you know, I see myself when I'm getting more excited, telling people my eyes are going absolutely crazy
Mhm.
to the point where I'm like that. Anyway, so yeah, I work on Little Nightmares and don't worry about what my eyes are doing.
Yeah, for sure. I feel the same way. I'm an actor. I've been acting for a few years, and with acting, you have to observe like how you actually react to something versus performing. I feel the same. Like there are things that I do when I'm excited that I just have to okay push that away. Nobody pays attention. It's fine. It's just
Yeah,
excitement.
but again, though, I think, you know, when it comes to actors, I'm like a massive movie fan, and like the ones that get to me are the ones that you feel like they're themselves. They're not doing the actor things, you know, because
Yeah,
then
for
I've seen
sure.
that a million times. Same with anything, same with writing, games, anything, or music as well. Drives me crazy when you hear a song, you're like that. Oh, it's the same chords, it's the same song again and again. You've got to hear from the people. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why should I be listening to you or watching you or reading what you've done? What are you saying that's different? Or are you
Yeah,
just
for sure.
copying what's popular already?
What were you scared of at the start of your career? And has that changed to now?
No, it's not. It's being good enough because, like I say, it's something I care deeply about. Like doing things well, like it being worthwhile that people have read what I've done, or you know, listen to the words I've written. Um, it's always been the same. I mean, I only really got a proper shot at this for a living when I was here. I mean, I worked in England for years. My first go at writing for a game was actually on Lego Rock Band, if you can believe that. Like, woo, yeah, that's like a really, yeah, it was a strange first one, but like, yeah, I was made up to see my words in a game and stuff. But it was when I came to Tarsier, they gave me a shot, and it was just, always the same. It's like, am I good enough? What if someone says this isn't good? This thing I think I do best of all the things I do. Someone says, no, you're not good at that either. You'd be like, oh, what am I then? Just go out and chop trees or something.
And
I
then write
know,
poetry
just,
about it.
yeah, exactly. Bad poetry.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's not really, it doesn't change. You don't, I think if you care about something, that shouldn't change either. You should never think you're good enough. I know that sounds really lame, but I would hate to think I'm just good now. Like that'll do, because then you don't keep trying. You just tread water. You've
Do you
always
have
got to,
a, sorry for interrupting, do you have a
right?
goal in your career that you'd want to reach then? Is there something you're striving for, or is it just like, I know that for the rest of my life I'm gonna keep writing, so whatever keeps me writing, I'm just gonna keep doing it?
No, it's not. It's not what keeps me writing. I think if I stopped caring about it, I would want to do something else.
That's
So
interesting.
I think. It really matters, and there's so much. They call it content now, don't they? Just stuff. There's just stuff out there, and everyone's doing stuff because they either want to be famous or whatever it is that people want out of it. I just want to keep getting better at what I do, and like, you know even stuff I did. I was really made up when I worked on Little Big Planet for the Vita. Yeah, it was the first thing I did for Tarsha. But
Mhm.
look at it now. I'm like, I could have done that. That's a massive cup, by the way. That's a huge cup.
Oh, thank you. It's like it's really close to the camera. I like tea, so
How close to the camera, though? It keeps
I
throwing
wish
me
it was
off
this big. It's like as big as my
like that.
face, I guess.
Mmm.
Oh, yes. Now, this is the most interesting part of the interview.
I love that color, though. I love
Thank
orange.
you.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
of
I'm not. I'm
course.
not one for liking colors, really, but I love orange. It's annoying.
That's interesting.
I've got everything in orange, which is I bought an orange bike, and then I got it home. Was like, damn it, I've got an orange coat. I'm going to look ridiculous like I work for EasyJet.
That's really, really interesting. Um, how would you feel that if you saw your 11-year-old self and you're like, hey, here's the story I wrote. What do you think of it? How would they react if they saw what you
Uh,
did?
they'd probably just say, "Oh, does your life get that bad?"
Oh,
Yeah,
ow.
I'm so happy now. No, when I was 11. No, I think I was a bit younger when I was. Yeah, because I was basically writing stuff because I was like crazy. Like I watched tapes, and you'll be way too young to know about tapes, watching films on tape. But I would watch lots of tapes of things like Weird Science and Ghostbusters and all this. And so much of my writing for creative writing in school was just like rewriting Weird Science and rewriting, oh, this is Peter Venkman in my story. So I was terrible. But at 11, I don't know what I was writing at 11, but I know I was probably terrible at it. We just started reading things. We just read The Heart of Darkness, actually, Joseph Conrad. So I think I was.
Oh, I think somebody mentioned that in the Little Nightmares interview. I don't know if it was you or the
Oh,
director, Per
really?
Bergman. I have it written
Yeah.
down in my sketchbook somewhere. That's one I have to check out.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's an absolute classic. But it was. Oh no, I know what it will be. That will be a game called Heart of Darkness as well, because
Yeah.
that did inspire Little Nightmares.
Oh, Awesome.
But they're two separate things for sure. Apocalypse Now. Heart of Darkness is the book that was at the roots of Apocalypse Now, the movie. But yeah, so I will have been on my anger cusp at that point, where I'd read of Heart of Darkness and thought, wow, people are terrible, aren't they? Belgian Congo. Lovely. Anyway, yeah. So my 11-year-old self would say, "Get away from me, and
Oh.
don't ever come back. Let me enjoy this part of my life."